Hi, I'm Tracy Birdsall with Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter,
And I'm Neil Johnson, director of Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter and the Time War.
and you're listening to the 13th Wolfman. I'm supposed to
Oh,
howl here.
Hey everybody, the 13th Wolfman here. You know what? We're always evolving around here, and I've got a new background, our wallpaper, our, whatever you want to call it, for Sit Down. Take a look at it, tell me what you think, and as always, enjoy.
I am no one. I have no name, no identity. I am nothing. I spit upon those who created me. I will fight those who oppress me. I will fight alone to destroy the scourge. I will fight until I die. A new religion burns in my veins. All hail the gods of war.
Hey everybody, I'm the 13th Wolfman. You know who I have with me today? I have Tracy Birdsall and Neil Johnson. He's the director of Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter, and of course, Tracy is the star.
Hello.
Welcome to Sit Down.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was watching both the trailers for this. It's very Mad Max-ish. It looks like a fun post-apocalyptic movie.
yeah, it's funny you should say that about Mad Max. I used to live in Australia, and Mad Max was one of my favorite movies of all time. We never actually set out to make a film like Mad Max, but it kind of gets under your skin after a time, when you're around those types of things. And
Morphed.
yeah, I mean, it kind of looks that way, but it's more science fiction than post-apocalyptic sort of stuff, which means it's got more of a story than just a, smash-up situation. So,
Well, no, yeah. I mean, I guess that wasn't the best way to describe it, but that's just what what the look of the film is what I kind of went by. But
actually,
yeah,
it's a perfect description. It's just, I just didn't think about it when I made it, and it just turned out to be like a movie like Mad Max. So it's I just keep going there all the time in my daily, that's how my life is.
well, you and I were talking, and we're roughly the same age, so I mean, those are the movies that kind of kind of glommed onto us as teenagers.
Oh, that's true. Hey, tell me now, you saw the original Mad Max. Did
Yeah.
you see the one with the American voice or the Australian voice?
I saw the original Mad Max with Mel Gibson's voice.
Right, but all the other voices in it, did they have a Texan accent or were they very?
No. It was the Australian thing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because I remember seeing a US version that had everyone apart from Mel Gibson had this Texan accent.
It had this really weird accent.
It was
I've
weird.
seen that version too. I have, but
Why
no,
would
that
right?
Well, it was just they weren't sure if American audiences would understand the Australian accent. So it's very broad in that, but it's part of the charm.
and the original Mad Max did terrible in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
why the second movie in our country, it's called The Road Warrior, not what it was called everywhere else, Mad Max 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But look at where they went with it. It's a massive franchise, and there's more coming. So
Yeah.
I actually saw George Miller once at a Screen Producers Association Awards, and the guy who made Mad Max 1, 2, 3, and the new one, and he was like the nicest guy. There's all these people there in Australia and producers, and George Miller was just standing in the corner and just being chatty, and he was the coolest guy of everyone in the whole room, apart from George Lucas. And he was just a really sweet guy, and it really impressed me that this is the biggest. There's two really major directors in the room,
Yeah.
and George Miller and George Lucas, and they were both really sweet people, and everyone else had a bit of an ego going, but not these two.
I hear that there was a time where he wouldn't talk to anybody about Mad Max because he wanted to get beyond that.
Yeah. Well, he did do Babe. So, that's extreme.
I think everybody's like that too, because everybody always wants to talk about all your old stuff, and you're kind of like, and you do it for them, but it's like you've already lived it over so many times. Whether you're a director, producer, an actor, whatever, it's kind of a funny thing. It takes you a while before you realize there's so much nostalgia in talking about old things for other people.
Especially when, like I said earlier, when there's movies that just kind of glom onto your life and they become a part of you, whether it's Mad Max or a horror film or something like Star Trek,
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's my problem.
Except for with you, it's all of them.
That's what I mean.
And I remember I've seen one of your previous movies, Tracy, and that's Dawn of the Crescent Moon.
Yes.
Which was a very interesting movie.
The producer and director of that were friends of mine, and if you notice, my name in that is Tracy. And they'd sent me a script over, and they're like, okay, just read the script and see if there's a role in there. It just kind of grabs you, and they just kind of wrote it as me. It was kind of funny, but it was fun to work opposite Barry Corbin. I had a blast with that. We got to be good friends that shooting weeks. Yeah.
Barry Corbin's an amazing guy too, and
he's in our next film.
Yeah, we borrowed him from Dawn of the Crescent Moon to put him in the Time War, which is an upcoming film. Which
the next one after Rogue Warrior.
Yeah, that's the one that he said he's been in. He was just, Neil was saying he was just in the editing room dealing with Hitler all day, and
that's what does. Yeah, it's quite a big movie, and Rogue Warrior is a big film. Time War's big in a different way, and
a completely different beast. You can't even compare them.
There's nothing like nothing. You wouldn't even think it's the same director. And well, let's hope.
Yeah, you would.
But it's Tracy plays, I don't know how many roles in the film.
In the Time War, so we don't confuse them.
Yeah, in the Time War, Tracy
plays. In Rogue Warrior, I'm Sienna, but in the Time War, I have a character named Dion. But I think she's like 22 characters.
Yeah,
and they're all different because of time travel. So it blows your mind to get in and make them all different, and they all have different ways and beings and perspectives and everything else. It's very complicated. Some of the stuff when he wrote it in and we were shooting in England, he'd hand me these scenes and I was already so confused that I was like, just give me the scene and let me create the character and direct me. I couldn't possibly assimilate it into the whole script.
Yeah, 22 different versions of the character. We don't know how many will survive in the final version of the film because it's 4.5 hours long right now. We have to cut stuff out. I know.
You wouldn't believe how many well, in Rogue Warrior too. I'd say we probably shot 80 days on Rogue Warrior.
Yeah.
He always underestimates it, but it's like all the time I get a phone call, oh, guess what? I need this shot, oh, we need to redo this shot. Oh, I found this great location. We need to redo this shot, But that's how great directors work.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that's a good director trying to get the best quality out of his vision, instead of just taking, okay, we got it all and putting it together. He's trying to polish it as well as he can.
And even with Rogue Warrior, it's like some of the places, because it's a character-driven sci-fi, and some of the places that the character has to go mentally are exhausting, just emotionally and mentally. And then he'll be like, oh, I found this location I'm going to shoot it in. And you're like, oh, man, I put that away. I have to go there again. It's like, but you do. You do it for the art.
It looks really good. Rogue Warrior, like I said, I sat through both trailers today. I actually like the second trailer a little bit more.
Which is the second one? Oh, the one with the just Tracy speaking throughout the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's that one hasn't gone wide yet. It had an exclusive through Coming Soon, the movie channel, but it hasn't gone wide yet. So you're one of very few people that have actually even seen that.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting that they kind of gave a little bit more description of the movie rather than it's like, here's some scenes,
Yeah.
It's more of a story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem. You got to sell the movie with the trailer. And you're completely right. It's trying to find that balance, but
you don't want to give too much away either.
No, and you want to give the viewer something worthwhile. It'll hook them in, but then once they watch the film, you want that to make sure they'll stay for the whole movie, and that's the the art of it.
Even the cast, when they went to the film, because the way we shot it so disjointed, and because principal photography with the main cast was limited to certain times, and then we'd bring in other actors to shoot other things. Even the cast, from watching the trailers, didn't really follow where the movie was going, which was part of the fun of it all. So when we did a premiere, they were like sitting there with their jaws dropped, like, oh my God, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's got to be really weird for any actor. You just kind of, unlike Tracy, it's like some actors come in and they only play, they only have a role for 10, maybe 12 scenes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, I went in, I shot this, and this. And it's like, I don't know what it's going to be in the movie. Then they go see the movie, like, oh, now it all makes sense.
And a lot of times they don't get the whole script. And then a lot of times if they think they have the whole script and you're talking a year later, the script's completely changed, even though their part might be basically the same. Mm-hmm. So as an actor, it is really interesting. I flew to Houston 4 or 5 years ago because I had 2 films opening. One was Dawn of the Crescent Moon, and one was the next night. And I knew they were opening back to back. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go see these movies because otherwise I'm never going to see them until they come out, So it's really interesting when you first see them. You're like, oh.
I remember Daz Crawford, who's in Rogue Warrior. His mouth was, he was aghast. His mouth was so open. Right when we did the Q&A, he's just like, I didn't know what this was. I can't believe it.
He's like, I didn't expect it. This is such a big movie. I can't believe what you did with it. It was really funny. And here he's like 6'5", right? And he's sitting there with his jaw dropped. Right.
He was a Lighthammer in Blade 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, he's Skull Crusher in Rogue Warrior.
Yeah. Great name.
There's also James Bond villain as well, and he's in
Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D. And, He's a
good actor.
He's seen, films and has been on sets, and it was really nice to surprise him.
To stun somebody like Daz was really cool. Yeah.
And he's a sweet guy.
Yeah, he is.
At 6'5", I hope so.
But when we were doing Neil had this whole chemistry thing. Okay, you have to have, chemistry with this other actor because he plays my boyfriend in the film, and he had all these guys, and some better looking than others, and all kind of looked like they could play a Skull Crusher. And he goes, well, who do you feel like any chemistry towards? And I said, well, none of these people. I said, but Daz scares me to death. He goes, that works. We'll take that. And then he ended up being the nicest guy.
So Neil, from inception, to completion, what was the length?
Oh boy. I like to sit on my scripts for a while. So originally Rogue Warrior was called Planet Crash, and I wrote it as a sequel to Humanity's End, one of my other films.
I saw that movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward one day to re-releasing that as a director's cut with, fixing their visual effects and stuff, because I had to rush that out the door. But it was a beloved film, and I always wanted to do a sequel to it. And Rogue Warrior was supposed to be that in the beginning. Then I just completely rewrote it, and it just went into something else. So I'm guessing it's a good 2 years. I spend way too much time in the post-production on it.
Well, and in production, the shooting days that we did.
Yeah.
We put way too much time into it, and then there was a lot of effort that went into this film. Most of it Neil's, but it about killed me.
It killed me. But it was the reason it took so long was my father passed away in the middle. I had legal issues as well to deal with. And they get in the way a little bit of things. So right. There's no way, I can't figure out how I could have done it any quicker. So I'd say it's a good 2 years, 2.5 years in total, including the writing process. And that's probably full time.
But it was supposed to be a smaller movie. Like, he has both his bigger movies he used to do, and then he puts smaller movies, and then we decided we were going to do this. And then I love getting things all up in the press and everything. And the press started getting really excited. And then he's like, oh, shoot, I have to make this a bigger movie now. So we actually kind of, went back into the drawing room, so to speak. And he had to put so much more effort into it. We probably could have made 3 films with the amount of effort that we put into that one film by the end of the day. But we're really proud of it.
Yeah, it was tough because you just set out in one direction, and then by the time you write a script, And I mean, I wrote extras after we shot it. I was writing extra scenes and rewriting, and in the edit room, I was writing more scenes. So that's that's just how it is. It's kind of because you kind of see a flow for things. We cut out an hour's worth of material in the movie.
Well, I think some of it too is that he gives the actors so much leeway. Like he does a rewrite after we cast, and then he gives the actors a lot of leeway before he directs them. And sometimes we bring something that he didn't see, and rather than being like so many directors out there, he would go ahead and let you do it. And if he liked it, then he had to rewrite something else. Because sometimes we brought something in that then he's like, oh no, that's good, and then he'd go and we'd have to shift everything around, and so it'd take you a lot more work.
Yeah. But that's how it is. And it's just that this was supposed to be the quickie.
It wasn't.
It wasn't quick.
Yeah. No, I've talked to quite a few directors that have put their heart and soul and years into movies. And it's always amazing that when you see someone that spends like 2 years or 4 years, what another guy that I know did, the movie comes out looking great because they spent all the time trying to get all the notes, all everything, like I said, polished and set right to their vision. So,
yeah.
But it's funny, after 2 years, I still feel rushed doing it. It's such a complex process. There's not a point of just lazily walking through it and relaxing with it. It's like go and edit and fix music, this, that. We still haven't stopped. The Rogue Warrior machine is still going as we speak.
Yeah, we're still working full time on it until it comes out, and then it'll be still working full time on it while you continue to promote it at the same time while he's in post on the Time War. And I start spinning the wheels on the marketing on the Time War. It's very complicated. All the artwork, all the everything. We don't have this giant team. We have people that we go to for different things. But since we started producing together on these last 2 films, it's like we're really doing a lot of it ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you do all the sound design yourself?
No, actually. Oh, no. We got a great sound design team. I did some of it, I'll be honest. But then I've got...
I think there were 6 of you today when I did it.
Was there?
For Rogue Warrior. Yeah, I was just doing some credit entries. And I think there was 6, not counting the crew, just the design and the mixing and the re-recording and stuff like that.
So I pull favors, but I think the most key people on that was Dirk Kloiber.
And Vic Casper.
Dirk actually works for Manowar, and I knew him from back then, so I'm always begging him for little favors and stuff. But
he speaks the truth.
And then Vic Casper again. I've known Vic he's got like all these golden reels. He did the sound for House of Flying Daggers, which is amazing. I know.
Yeah.
And so
he's that good.
I've been begging him for years, and he just had a hole in his schedule finally we're talking 20 years. Finally had a hole in his schedule, and he said, okay, I'll do it. And so
and he's gotten so many awards for it.
Yeah. Well,
for the sound in Rogue Warrior.
It's that good,
Yeah.
So we're just lucky, It's a matter of pulling favors and just putting your hands up and begging and a bit of money. Of course.
And then Neil knew the guys from Rhapsody of Fire, and he's like, well, maybe we can get Alex from Rhapsody to do the compositions, to do the score and everything. And I just went nuts because I love Rhapsody. I have for forever. I'm like, please. So anyway, somehow that came together. It was just like a great day for me. Yeah. And he's such a nice guy. I've gotten to know him throughout the process.
Yeah, Alex Startopoli, he's the keyboardist and main composer of Rhapsody, or Rhapsody of Fire. And, the Italian epic, super heavy metal Hollywood.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
And they've always wanted to do, film scores. And I've known Alex since, I think, 2002. So
getting an Italian rock band, doing the whole Goblin thing, huh?
Well, yeah, actually, I love Goblin, the soundtrack stuff they do. But no, it's a completely different vibe. I said I don't want Rhapsody. I want Alex Staropoli with the feeling of the keyboards and the pianos.
Oh, it's amazing. The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it came out beautifully.
I think it's already available on iTunes and Amazon and stuff like that. He's already put the soundtrack out. Yeah, but Rogue Warrior, I think a lot of it because the press kind of picked up on it and got excited about it. And then it was actually easier for us to get people in post to get excited about it, to want to be a part of it. That was kind of a cool thing. And so it's kind of a conglomerate of everybody, Everybody was talking about it, so they're like, oh, yeah, we want to be a part of this. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about Rogue Warrior, but we haven't really said anything what it's about. Would someone want to give a quick synopsis for the movie?
I knew it was going to be me.
Because I do it all the time, so it's his turn.
What's the log line? There's a couple of people saying it's a hot girl on a burning planet.
Oh, that's Stuart Bannerman and John Fouts with From Page to Screen. They have a nickname for the film called Hot Girl on a Burning Planet, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, but I mean, it's basically about this woman, Sienna, who lost her memory a few years back, and she's sort of in this post-apocalyptic world trying to, do deals for armaments and medical supplies and stuff. And she's being pursued by this robot thing. And she's starting to have weird flashbacks about, who she was.
Give away too much.
Yeah, a little bit. So she ends up going on a journey halfway, to the center of the galaxy, actually, which is a big giant black hole. And yes, we try to be as scientifically accurate as possible in this film. And she's looking for a big super weapon that's going to take on this giant AI army that's basically trying to, oppress the Earth. So
Okay.
it's an epic film, but it's really a character study, a character journey.
Yeah, it's really interesting because she has a lot of realizations along the way. And so who she is, what she is, her relationships, and what she becomes, all are affected by the people that are in her life and by the overtaking of humanity by artificial intelligence. So it was an interesting journey because when I got the script, there's so much to it as far as a character-driven study that I had to color code it. Like, what does she know now? What does she not know now? I mean, but so it's an epic journey into the not too distant world about artificial intelligence overtaking humanity and what you can do to stop it.
But we're trying not for it not to be a generic, it's just robots attacking humans thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that I think most of the reviewers who've seen it so far have said it's halfway through, it just takes a left turn. And it's a pleasant surprise because we thought it was just going to be one of these movies, But all of a sudden, oh, wow, it's got a story and people get very emotionally attached to the character. And
they say, I went on her journey, whether they're a man or a woman, So we actually are able to drag them into the character journey when they're just there for a good science fiction film. Which is really rewarding.
And the one thing everyone says by the time they get to the end, this is the common statement we're getting. Oh, wow, I need to see more of this.
They want to see. I want to know what happens to her next.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we've got to see what happens. So it's nice that people are investing in the character. You see, that comes down to a good actress. I can write this stuff, but
that's good actors. That's good writing. I mean, if you're not well invested in the story, then the actor's not going to pull off the character and vice versa, So
it's also precise directing. And the reason I say that is because when you get caught up in a character and you're living that character, you need little fine tunes, because just like in life, when you're a kid and your mom says, oh, don't be that loud, or, oh, don't, go that way, and so precise directing isn't about interrupting you. It's about steering you so that while you're in the moment and you're having that moment, that you're doing exactly what's right for the flow of the story, not for just that particular scene. So
are you method, Tracy?
I've studied method. I studied Alexander. I've studied just about every technique I could find growing up. And it wasn't until I trained with Margie Haber many, many years ago that I just kind of take everything, just everything. And I just live my character. I just become my character. I create who they are, and I just live their life because I don't like to watch people act, and nobody else wants to watch people act. And
right.
So as long as you're living that journey and it's real to you, then it's going to be real to the people that are watching it.
Well, I only ask because I know that there's actors out there that once they get in character, they're in character for like the entire shoot, whether they're on the set or not. And I was wondering if that was
just method, though. That's not just method, because method, you're using other things in order to get you there. Living it, you're already there. And I would say that that's a healthy thing to do. I mean, yeah, it's a little confusing when you break for dinner and you don't come back to the next day because you can't ever pull your head completely out of that. The hardest thing, no matter what your way of getting there is, method is just a way to get to where you're supposed to be. The hardest thing is when you wrap shooting. and you kind of, try to put that character down, and you can't, because their memories are your memories, their experiences are your experiences, and so it kind of messes with your mind for a little bit. And
yeah, and it's funny you should say all that, because we've actually, as a director, and I did the world's first digital film, which sounds very exciting, but I don't know what that means. Digital feature film, I'm always been hailed as this technical person, but we get visual effects awards. But I'm really interested in character and actors. And what I've really noticed, the better actors I've started, I've started working with some really big actors, good actors as well, but serious actors. Mm-hmm. There seems to be a bit of a problem with the characters I write, because they're messing with people, and
it's true.
Tracy's been through some major stuff, because of Rogue Warrior and her living the role.
Yeah, and the worst was in the Time War, though. When you see the Time War,
I was going to say 22 characters. I mean,
it's not the number.
It's the first film that I ever got so that I actually ended up in the emergency room because I thought I was going to have a stroke. It was like, I'm sitting there one day and I'm so messed up in the head, because some of these characters are pretty messed up. And one day I just my heart was pounding, my blood pressure was up. I'm a healthy person. I'm a vegetarian. I work out all the time, and I couldn't get my blood pressure to go down. I picked up the phone one morning. I'm in my stormtrooper jammies, and I called 911. I was like, I was okay though.
So Neil, how do you slate that when it comes to shooting? Do you say, okay, for this entire week we're shooting character number 6, and then
easy? Wouldn't that make it easy? You should try that, Neil.
No, I don't do that at all.
No.
Oh man.
See, here's the problem.
That'd be too easy.
Here's the problem. I'll give you a really good example. We had there's a scene where in the Time War where two versions of the same person, an older version and a younger version, are talking to each other on the top of a mountain. And one's a young version, one has baggage and one doesn't. No, actually both have baggage, but one has a bit more. One has a bit more baggage though. And they're talking to each other on the top of a mountain. So you can't just say, okay, actor number 1, we're going to get to do this character on this day.
Yeah.
Because you've got to get in the truck, drive up a mountain, and we're talking a very, very high mountain, with snow and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then climb up another part of the mountain. It takes you, 3 hours to drive there. It takes you, another 3 hours to get up the top of the mountain. Then you've got to shoot the scene. And you can't just say, okay, we're only going to do one character one day. So Tracy has to do the first character first, and we have to choose which one's going to play better.
And he has to lock off the camera, and then you have to go be the other character. And they're hugely different from each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Huge.
So sometimes yes, it's nice to stick with one character a day, but sometimes you have to do two characters in the day, and it is what it is. And it was actually really hard, because it was hard for me, it was hard for her, because you've got to change your headspace. You need to have a break from one character to play the other, and it's not easy, and you're up in it's 8,000 feet up in the air,
and he has me climbing through bear poop, and it's like.
Yeah.
This stuff is not glamorous. Anybody out there thinks this is glamorous, you're in the wrong industry, right?
So it's a complex mess.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay.
I get that, but I'm just thinking in my own head. I'm like, God, I would just be going crazy trying to figure out 22 characters. Like, okay, we're shooting character 13 today, and tomorrow it's like we got 16 and 12 doing a scene together, and it's like,
they all have nicknames. They all have nicknames, but. It is so hard, but and I love challenges. So it's like, he asked me, are you up? Oh yeah, I'm up for this, And what's funny is that the most complicated character of them all, which we call her Eye Patch. And
I guess give me one guess why.
And he said to me one day, I'm like, well, can she have kind of a complex hairstyle then? She's only shooting one day, right? This ends up being the fabric that he weaves through the whole story. And there's it is so complicated just to become her. I mean, and of course you're her by the time you put it on. But it was really, I think I had to be this character at least 45 days.
Yeah, she's taken over the whole movie, you see.
Yeah.
Actually, not really. Eye Patch got the eye patch though. She wasn't Eye Patch. She was, what was she called? What was the one? We have all these funny names. What was Eye Patch before she got the eye patch?
Bloody. We have
Bloody Dion.
We have Young.
We had Young Dion. We had Eye Patch Dion. Then we had military
Dion.
Then we had
Hooded
Dion, who's in the film a lot.
Yeah.
But then there was Young. There's
a whole bunch.
There was Young Dion without makeup.
Oh yeah, so he wanted to change it around. I'm like, can I just not wear any makeup? He's like, no actress has ever asked me that before.
But then there was an.
But I did. I look like a 10-year-old without makeup.
But what did we name the Dion that had the leather coat that didn't have the eye patch and was fighting in England?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Leather Dion.
It's a lot of this.
They all have names in the script. It's just I just kind of once I know who they are, I guess I forget what they're called.
Yeah, and we were running around places like Avebury and Stonehenge.
Winchester Cathedral.
Yeah, we snuck into a major church, Salisbury Cathedral.
And when you see the scenes that we did in that church, you will not believe it.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. We have desecrated the church beyond belief. You know, there's going to be some people may not be very happy with us when they see what we did.
They will if they appreciate art.
No, they won't.
Oh, and then we shot on a submarine.
So we had this giant submarine. Yeah, in Portsmouth in England. This gigantic submarine, like a big black, looks like a nuclear. It's not a nuclear submarine, but it's like a nuclear submarine, and it's so dark and gothic and evil and amazing.
It's very cool.
Very old,
mm-hmm.
And it's a big submarine too. You know.
Yeah, it's huge.
So the movie comes out June 2nd, limited release. And then on June 6th, it goes...
exclusive to Walmart for 60 days. We're the only independent film being carried exclusively at Walmart. All the rest of them are studio films, so that's kind of exciting. And then August 15th, it's already available for pre-order on Amazon, and I'm sure it'll go wide as of August 15th.
Yeah, it'll be iTunes and, everywhere.
Video on demand.
Internationally, we don't know yet because we're just waiting for the territories to line up. But because Walmart is exclusive... yeah. We've hold off everyone else, So, but that's coming. The film was currently at the Cannes Film Festival, being sold, not as in the festival itself, but in the film market at Cannes.
And then we just found out that it's opening up in a theater at the end of the month too, called Sutter Creek Theater, and that's in Sutter Creek, which is just up by Yosemite. So I mean, it might just kind of expand, So hopefully this opening week will be really, really good, and it'll keep growing.
Well, that sounds great. I want to thank you both for coming by, sit down, and talking to me about Rogue Warrior. I'm having a problem today. What is it?
You're joining
Rogue Warrior Robot Fighter.
Yeah.
Yes.
It took me a while to figure that one out, too.
So if people are looking for you on social media, where can they find you, Tracy?
Twitter is Tracy Birdsall 1. Facebook is Tracy Birdsall Official. Pinterest, Tracy Birdsall 1, Instagram, Tracy Birdsall 1, or you can just go to tracybirdsall.com, and there's links to everywhere.
Okay. And the best for me would be just go to my website, www.empire.com, em-pire, empire.com, and you can find me from there. But I'm on Twitter at Director Neil Johnson, and I don't know what else I am. Is that it? Oh, yeah, I'm a like page on Facebook as well. Director Neil Johnson.
Cool. So all I got to say is from the trailers I've seen is check out the movie when you get a chance. For Tracy and Neil, I'm the 13th Wolfman, and, of course, I'm on the prowl.